I'm Angel Melanson, digital editor, web boss, and your humble host at Fangoria.com, the one-stop shop for all your horror needs. Let's talk about public domain horror. Public domain horror has been wilding out in the last couple of years. We have Killer Steamboat Willie movies, that's the Mickey Mouse horror movie, or movies, plural, Popeye horror movies, Winnie the Pooh horror, and the Avengers-style crossover of some of these public domain entities doing battle known as the Puniverse, obviously, in Puniverse, Monsters Assemble. A touch of Avengers, and I guess fair to say these crossovers are something akin to Freddy vs. Jason. Freddy vs. Jason adjacent. Freddy vs. adjacent. I digress. The phenomenon itself is very interesting and it produces varying results. There are folks who roll their eyes when they hear we're getting a Bambi horror movie. Yes, it's true, we are. And then there are folks who giddily clap their hands with glee. Terrifier's David Howard Thornton is getting in on the fun as Steamboat Willie in Screamboat. See what they did there? This one is about a group of New Yorkers on a late-night ferry ride that turns deadly when a mischievous mouse begins a rampage targeting unsuspecting passengers. The unlikely crew must band together to thwart the murderous menace before their relaxing commute turns into a nightmare. Please, please, please tell me this has Jason Takes Manhattan vibes. I guess you could also go The Last Voyage of the Demeter with a killer plague rat, mouse, wreaking havoc on a captive audience. The release date on that one was pushed to April 2nd, but we don't have to wait much longer for a Killer Mouse double feature. The Mexican mouse beat the Thornton version to release with I Heart Willie. Do not use that soundbite out of context. This one was produced and shot in Mexico, but it's mostly in English. The premise for that one? Popular YouTubers are invited to investigate a haunted property drawn by rumors of a malevolent force. The legend centers around a boy born with deformities resembling a human-mouse hybrid who inspired Walt Disney's Steamboat Willie. Abused and isolated, the boy, now known as Willie, crafts a bodysuit from the skins of trespassers. Oh, Willie, no. Over the years, his gruesome legacy fades into folklore until a series of disappearances sparks renewed interest. As the YouTube duo set up for a night of thrills, they unknowingly step into a deadly game of survival. You can watch the first 4 minutes of I Heart Willie over on Fangoria.com, see what you're getting yourself into, and if you'd like to get into more of it. I feel like if this is your jam, you'll know pretty immediately. So why the Killer Steamboat Willie movies and not just Killer Mickey Mouse? Well, because the current iteration of one Mr. Mickey Mouse is not in the public domain. The copyright on Steamboat Willie and the original Mickey Mouse depicted in that 1928 film expired in January 2024, making that particular character and version of Mickey Mouse fair game in the public domain. So you'll see filmmakers being very careful to use that particular version, unless they want to have their red pants sued off them by Disney's what I imagine to be insanely powerful legal team. So, steamboats and screamboats it is. Keep an eye out for Mouseboat Massacre and Mickey's Sleigh House. In January of 2025, Popeye the Sailor Man entered the public domain, paving the way for the release of Popeye the Slayer Man and Popeye's Revenge. The latter was executive produced by the team behind Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey and is currently available via video on demand on Amazon. The premise for this one is the legend of Popeye haunts a group of counselors as they intend to open a summer camp. Popeye the 13th, anyone? Next up on the dock, Popeye the Slayer Man follows a curious group of friends as they sneak into an abandoned spinach canning factory, to investigate the legend of the Sailor Man, who is said to haunt the factory and local ducks. Now don't go looking for trouble, folks, walking right into this man's domain, the Slayer's lair, if you will. That never goes well, except for maybe the Slayer. We actually have the first 5 minutes of this one over on Fangoria.com for you to check out, along with an interview with Sarah Nicklin, who you'll see running through that spinach canning factory in the cold open. We do love ourselves a cold open. So if you're curious about that one, head over to the site and watch the first scene. Popeye the Slayer Man is in theaters and VOD March 21st. And the fun doesn't stop there. There is a third Killer Popeye movie coming our way in 2025 to complete the unholy trifecta, Shiver Me Timbers. This one is a period piece. It takes place in 1986. Do we consider the 80s a period piece now? I suppose so. It takes place in Northern California, circa 1986, and follows Olive Oil, her brother Castor, and friends as they go on a camping trip to see the historic meteor shower. But the night turns into horror as a meteor transforms Popeye into an unstoppable killing machine. I hate when meteors do that. Meteor shit. Dipping into the public domain is not a new thing, but Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey seemed to be a game changer in this very specific subgenre, proving that you can make big bucks. And then, of course, everyone wants to try for a piece of the pie. As far as public domain horror goes, we're also getting The Mousetrap, Welcome to the Mickeyverse, Mickey Mouse, the Assassin, Pinocchio, Unstrung, Bambi, The Reckoning, The Dark Domain MVW, Mickey vs. Winnie, Piglet Rising, and of course, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 3. There's also a Shrek horror movie called Fiona. That's a short from 2022, and Shrek is not in the public domain, but I suppose they're hoping for protection under parody. The original book will become public domain in 2085. Shrek the movie was released in 2001, so if copyright laws remain the same, the movie and its characters will enter the public domain in 2096. I don't care. There will probably be lots more public domain horror titles joining the party before the year's end. What's your take on horror dipping into the public domain? Love it? Hate it? Morbidly curious about it? The Marx Brothers' Animal Crackers enters public domain in 2026, as well as Betty Boop's earliest appearance and Pluto's first appearance as well. Are we in for some Marx Brothers slapstick slashers and a killer Betty Boop? Time will tell. What's an entity you're looking forward to entering the public domain and getting a horror twist? Let us know in the comments. You can find these original articles and more on Fangoria.com. We've got in-depth dives and all the latest horror news. Thank you for sticking around until the end of this video. That helps us get the word out to the good folks of the interwebs. I'll see you next time, you gorgeous creeps.